And we're back. This has flown by. This week has gone by with this recording. This conversation has gone by so quickly. I'm so excited about what we've talked about. And I end every conversation with everyone the same way. And that is I just ask people what brings them joy. So,
Mm.
Rachel, what's goodness and what brings you joy? And it can span both your professional life and your personal life. What makes you happy?
You know, I am in a women's group, a women's therapy group, and we talk about all of the things like navigating dating and life and all of this stuff. And it's one of the questions that we ended our last group with was like, what makes your heart sing? And I was like, that's such a weird question. And I thought about it like all week and was like, what makes my heart sing? Right? Because I can give you the normal like joy for me is like travel and seeing new places and all this stuff, like the surface stuff, which it is. I love all of that stuff. But the reason why I love traveling so much, the reason why I love being out so much is because of people. And I love meeting people. I love hearing their stories. And then I love connecting those dots, right? Like, oh my gosh, you have to meet this person. Oh my goodness, this person is going to be amazing for you. And so, truly, what brings me joy is making connections that make people's lives richer. It makes my life richer to know that like I'm surrounded by like such fantastic people who are all like making each other's lives better, and to like see the people that I love other people that I love, and like build those dots of community, especially now as I'm getting a little older and like, families are expanding and people are having children. It just brings me so much joy. One of my good friends one of my childhood friends just had a little baby girl, and one of my good friends, it was her baby shower this weekend, and she's also having a baby girl. And I was like looking back at pictures of the baby shower and feeling like, wow, this baby girl is going to be born into this community of women who will be able to guide her in ways that we could not have even dreamt of just one generation earlier, right? And all of these things that we know about harnessing joy and finding happiness and balance and like grief and guilt and burnout, all of these things will like the things that have had to like, that we've had to work through,
Yeah.
we'll be able to guide these baby girls through these things when they're ready. Guide them loosely because they're on their own journeys. But that just brought me so much joy that we've lived through, come to places within ourselves to fully understand ourselves and have the luxury of self actualization, and to be able to look forward, to pass those things down, and to build great community and connect great people and make fantastic things and great art from that. That really brings me joy.
I think that's so beautiful because really what you're talking about, one is community, but even deeper than that is one of the reasons I started this podcast was because I believe that Black women will always be well professionally, do well professionally. I think we have a legacy of strong women to
Hmm.
lean back on who are resilient, but we don't have a legacy necessarily of joyful women, right? That's just been something that's been absent. And so we now, in our generation, are adding that in our vocabulary. And maybe we're
Hmm.
coming to it in our late 30s or our, 40s, but we're getting there. And joy is becoming something that's in the vocabulary that 20 years ago was people weren't talking about, especially Black women. Joy, just do what makes you feel good. Nobody was talking about that. And
Yeah.
so now we have the opportunity to create a generation where that's it's not they get to actually see my parents are joyful,
Yeah.
like they get to grow up seeing, my grandma is learning to be joyful because her daughter taught her to be joyful, and now I live in a world where joy is not like a new word. And so it's like we have this thread of intergenerational trauma, which is
Mhm.
part of the foundation of why I do what I do, but now we are creating intergenerational healing. And that is so beautiful and powerful to be able to know that these baby girls, these brown and Black baby girls, are going to have opportunities and learning and environments that are free. They're not absent completely of
No.
intergenerational trauma, but they have with it side by side the healing. And that's
Yeah.
something I don't know that we had available to us.
No. And even the way we get to document it, right? I'm gonna do my little like, I won an award.
You
Mozilla
did.
named me
Yes,
one,
you did. I saw it on
you know,
Instagram. Yes,
one
you
of the
did.
25 visionaries shaping the future of the internet. And that's a heavy title, right? And it's really because I'm just being me and creating space for other people to be
Mhm.
themselves and to tell stories as marginalized people. And something that I said in my acceptance speech that I think about all the time is that we've never had this moment in history. We've only had other people to tell the stories of what went on because the oppressor is the one that always has
Yes.
access to tell the story. And so the internet and the way that we this podcast, like all of this stuff, these are artifacts of our joy. They will never be able to tell stories of us that's based solely on our struggle ever again in history, because there is proof, there is documentation, there are blogs, there are vlogs, there are TikToks, there are all of these things that documented the joy and the silliness and the fun and the levity of life. I think about like every year on like MLK Day, people are like, you I can't wait to see a picture. There's like a picture that always like circulates of like Martin Luther King on vacation. And people are
Uh-huh.
like, wow, it's like so crazy to think about him as somebody who like was enjoying life too. Like, yeah, sometimes the work is hard. Sometimes the legacy is tough to build. But even in all of that, there are always pockets of joy. And like if we document them, we leave them as little breadcrumbs, we leave them as inspiration, we leave the guidebook to living a life of balance that can be centered on joy, can be centered on happiness. And our next generation doesn't have to start from scratch, and they don't have to feel the weight of the guilt that comes with it that other people will assign to you.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm letting you have the last word with that because I think that's beautiful and right. I think that's exactly the message we need to leave on. So how can folks connect with you? We're going to put that in the show notes as well. So don't worry if you don't catch it if you're listening. But you tell us, what do you want to promote? How can we connect with you?
Yeah, well, I'd love if you all went and read my pocket collection. The next one, well, can I say that? When is this going to air? They're going to launch every other month until June. So whenever you go, it'll be there. So just search Rachel Hislop on Pocket, but also follow me on Instagram. It's at Amazing Rach, like Amazing Race, but just Rachel, or Amazing Grace, but Amazing Rach. And LinkedIn, all the places, just Rachel Hislop out there in the world, or just rachelhislop.com where you can find all of those things. Thank you
And we'll
so
make sure to
much.
link it all up.
Yeah, link
Yes.
it all because
So
I
glad you're
definitely do
here.
appreciate that.
No, that's what it's for. That's what it's for. We're going to put in the show notes all the links. And I'm sure many of us will be following you. You are a fun follow on Instagram. I send people who don't even know you. I mean, you should just follow this woman. She is doing it. Like, it's just
I
so
love
fun.
that. I'm taking a little hiatus right now. I need to. There's a lot happening on there, and I need to center my joy offline.
Yes.
So I am on a little IG hiatus if you don't see me for a bit, but I'm lurking.
Yeah, you'll be there. You'll be back when this airs, as Rachel said, when this
When
airs, you will be back from your hiatus
Yeah.
and people will be connecting and follow along to catch your joy. Rachel, thank you for promoting the podcast back when it had, 55 followers, and now has thousands. And thank you for promoting it. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for the work that you do. And especially thank you for this conversation today.
Oh, thank you. I am just so proud. And I don't know if that's correct because you were the professor, but I'm proud of your growth too. No, this is an amazing space and these conversations are so vital. And like I said, like we have to document our stories. And so I'm really happy that you do this and find this space for us to talk about joy and all of the great things that can be on the other side of burnout.
Love it. Love it. Rachel, everyone, check out where she's hanging out. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.